Chapter 71. Wan Rong's Life. With Wan Rong dead, Su Jingxing felt a weight off his body and mind. This feeling was very strange. It was profound and mysterious. It was indescribable. The original Su Jingxing's obsession couldn't be considered a shackle, but it had truly affected him. Now that Wan Rong was dead and his obsession had been dispelled, Su Jingxing had the illusion that he was integrating into this world for the first time. In short, it was both strange and refreshing. Speaking of which, Wan Rong really deserves death. Su Jingxing converged his energy and calmed his surging qi and blood. The original Su Jingxing didn't know how Boss Wang and his family died. But Su Jingxing did. He had specially investigated and found out why Wan Rong, a 7th-grade martial artist, would harm an ordinary person like Wang Fugi. It was because Wang Fugi's daughter was very beautiful. That's right, the details weren't complicated at all. Wan Rong had met the daughter of old Wang by accident once and had taken a liking to her at first glance. After that, he approached her and wanted her to be his lover. Old Wang's daughter naturally refused. Wan Rong was even older than old Wang, he was almost 50 years old. Although he was a 7th-grade martial artist, old Wang's daughter did not have a poor aptitude either, so she directly rejected him. Wan Rong flew into a rage out of humiliation, and forced himself onto her. Old Wang's unyielding daughter committed suicide after the incident. When old Wang's wife learned of this, she was overwhelmed with grief and took her own life as well. Old Wang didn't follow. He found an opportunity to crash into Wan Rong with a car in the middle of the night, planning to perish together with him. This might have worked on Earth. But this was Earth Star, and Wan Rong was a 7th-grade martial artist. A martial artist's perception was extremely keen and their ability to react and dodge was extremely outstanding. 2 seconds before the collision, Wan Rong successfully escaped. In the end, old Wang died and Wan Rong remained unscathed. Wan Rong should not have been able to escape death in such a tragic case where an entire family was dead, but there was no evidence against him. As a veteran, Wan Rong did not leave any traces when he committed the crime. Therefore, even though it was Wan Rong who forced himself on old Wang's daughter, the cause of death of Boss Wang's family was suicide. Wan Rong didn't do anything from the beginning to the end. This was FCKED up. Wan Rong was not an ordinary person. He was a 7th-grade martial artist. His influence was not small and he had wide connections. No matter how angry Boss Wang's relatives were, they could only swallow their indignance and accept the outcome. When Wan Rong advanced to 6th grade, they completely dispelled any thoughts of revenge. Of course, Wan Rong had always been on the hit list of the Martial Suppression Office. Now that Wan Rong was dead, the Martial Suppression Office would only be happy. Su Jingxing would not feel guilty for killing such a scumbag. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Yes. After receiving a card, Su Jingxing took a glance at Wan Rong's corpse and turned away. Pushing the tips of his toes, he flew away from the scene. Under the street lamp, the remaining 2 halves of Wan Rong's body lay quietly in a pool of blood. The security guard at the entrance of the estate waited for a while. After confirming that Su Jingxing had really left, he walked out of the security booth with a gloomy face. He looked at Wan Rong's corpse from afar and dialed the crematorium's customer service office on his phone. Hello, is this the crematorium? Yes, we have a corpse here. Okay, thank you. He hung up the phone with a smile and continued to dial the public security team's number. Hello, public security team. There was a fight at the entrance of our estate. Yes, a guy was split in half. How do I know what the murderer looks like? What if I go up and check and I get implicated? Alright, I'm just making a call. It's up to you whether you want to come. With that, he hung up the call impatiently and lit a cigarette. He stuffed it between his lips and cursed under his breath. DMN it, can't you go somewhere else to take your revenge? I can't believe you chose to do it at the entrance of the estate. Don't you know that there are many people living here? How unlucky. After taking revenge, Su Jingxing leisurely returned to his small courtyard at the foot of the mountain. He sprawled out on the sofa and took out the card he extracted from Wan Rong's corpse. Holding it in his hand, he read the description. Memory card. Another memory card. However, compared to Fan Chunggong, Wan Rong's memories lasted 40 years. Su Jingxing unlocked the card and played it on fast forward in his mind like he was watching a movie. 40 years of memories nearly encompassed Wan Rong's entire life. From being a street gangster to joining a gang, to becoming a senior member and the leader of the fighters, to turning independent and becoming the boss himself. It could be said that the first half of Wan Rong's life was the life of most gang members. If not for the fact that he had obtained a martial art by lucky chance, Wan Rong would have an ending like the other gang members, dead in a corner of an alley one day. Relying on this opportunity, Wan Rong officially stepped onto the path of martial arts and became a martial artist. But for martial artists to become stronger, they needed money. Therefore, Wanrong swindled and cheated, using every means possible. Robbery, murder, kidnap, he committed all sorts of evil deeds. With his ruthless methods, he finally became a 7th grade martial artist and gained a certain status. But 7th grade wasn't the limit. Wanrong naturally wanted to take another step forward. Because of this, he had paid a lot of money to get in touch with a direct descendant of the Shi family, Shi Yankang. He had sold himself to the Shi family in exchange for the first-level mental cultivation technique that belonged to the Shi family's ultimate technique, Cold Smoke Mantra. The Cold Smoke Mantra was a high-level internal exercise that allowed one to cultivate true energy. Just the first level alone was enough for one to advance to the 6th grade. After Wanrong obtained it, he paid more money again, preparing no less than 10 wall-breaking pills and the like. On top of that, his aptitude was not bad. In just 10 years, he really succeeded in advancing to the 6th grade. 6th grade martial artists were the backbone of the Shi family. Therefore, Wanrong got his wish and became a guest elder of the Shi family. He had just obtained his identity token last month. When Su Jingxing extorted him the last time, Wanrong really thought that it was Chu Zhaoyun who sent him. Therefore, when he returned from the prefecture city, Wanrong immediately went to the Shi family and had a discussion with the Shi family's second master to make a move on Chu Zhaoyun. After all, Chu Zhaoyun also had a backer. The Shi family agreed. As a matter of fact, Wanrong had been contacting people all around once he returned. Unexpectedly, he was targeted by Su Jingxing and was split into two. Su Jingxing was expressionless when he finished browsing through the memories. Throughout Wanrong's life, there was not a single thing worthy of praise. Su Jingxing was able to write down from memory the first level of the Cold Smoke Mantra. If he cultivates it accordingly, it would solve a huge problem for him. However, this internal exercise belonged to the Shi family and there was only the first level available to him. If Su Jingxing were to cultivate it, he would have to rely on the Shi family to become stronger in the future. This was not the life Su Jingxing wanted. Therefore, the Cold Smoke Mantra was eliminated. Needless to say, Su Jingxing had no use for Wanrong's businesses and lovers. Wanrong's gain from his first lucky chance, a brutal palm technique, was not attractive to Su Jingxing. It could not compare to the 7 steps fist. All in all, only the $10 million that he had hidden away would be of use to Su Jingxing. Oh, and through Wanrong's memory, Su Jingxing had watched all the major and minor incidents in Qinghai City over the past 40 years as if he was watching a documentary. This included the rise of the Shi family. 40 years ago, the Shi family was not as powerful and influential as it was now. It was similar to the Black Tiger Gang. The reason why they had their huge scale today was because the previous patriarch of the Shi family was very powerful. He was a formidable character. Through annexation, suppression, roping in, and destruction, he led the Shi family to build up their fame and become the number one in the Western District. Su Jingxing discovered through Wanrong's memories that Wanrong greatly admired the previous patriarch of the Shi family. 30 years ago, he was already dreaming of entering the Shi family. Unfortunately, the Shi family didn't not have Wanrong in their sights at all. When he entered the 7th grade and made a name for himself, he was then accepted. The first level of the Cold Smoke Mantra was his introductory gift. Unfortunately, it was too troublesome for Su Jingxing to practice this internal exercise. Let's wait for the 9 steps trampling heaven instead. The location of the 9 steps trampling heaven was not in the Changyang prefecture but the Lori prefecture, which was located in the westernmost part of the Yu nation. Su Jingxing had to take a plane to get there. And not a direct flight at that, he had to make 2 transits. Therefore, he had to apply for leave again. Luckily, Su Jingxing had become a full-time employee, and he often helped the others with their shifts, so it wasn't hard for him to get a week off. Ji Yubo was still concerned about whether something had happened. He told Su Jingxing that he must go to him if he needed help. Su Jingxing expressed his gratitude but had to find an excuse to cover up. He couldn't possibly say that he was going to the Lori prefecture to get a high-level martial art manual that was suspected to be a true energy internal exercise, could he? Su Jingxing still wanted to continue extracting cards at the crematorium. Before setting off, Su Jingxing followed his plan and made a trip to the valley in the Green Cloud mountain range where the big white goose was. At night, he waited for the big white goose to fall asleep. Then, with the help of the silvery white glow it emitted, he checked the little wooden sword. And he did find something. This strange wooden sword was indestructible, unable to be burnt by fire, made wet by water, or buried by soil. Under the silver-white glow, a layer of hazy green light appeared on its surface. The green light even seemed to be alive. Under Su Jingxing's gaze, it constantly twisted and shook, releasing wave-like ripples. As for what was going on, Su Jingxing could not figure it out, nor could he understand. Helpless, he could only keep it in his storage space. After bidding farewell to the Big White Goose, he returned to Qinghai City and took a plane to Lori Prefecture. He made 2 transits in between. Setting off at 6 in the morning, at 3 in the afternoon the next day, he arrived at the city nearest to the 9 steps trampling heaven's location, New Fate City. The reason why it took so long was because the plane had to take a detour. The linear distance between Qinghai City and New Fate City was 2,500 kilometers. However, there were several danger zones with chaotic magnetic fields in between, as well as 3 airspaces with avian mutated beasts. To pass through safely, the plane had to take a detour. It took him more than a day and a night to arrive, and this was still thanks to the fact that no avian mutated beasts had harassed them. Su Jingxing had taken a week off just in case of such situations. After arriving at New Fate City, things became much simpler. The 9 steps trampling heaven was hidden at Sunset Cliff, which was 50 miles away from New Fate City. The Sunset Cliff extended for a long stretch of more than 800 miles. The highest point on the surface was 5,000 meters, the lowest, 2,000 meters. Underground, the deepest part reached 1,000 meters. It was truly a natural chasm. In reality, after crossing Sunset Cliff, one would reach the outer region of the boundless mountain range. In order to guard the barbarians, Unation had set up several observation points on the peaks of Sunset Cliff. Su Jingxing didn't know if there were any observation points near the location of the 9 steps trampling heaven. Just in case, he stayed in New Fate City for half a day and hacked into the government's system to confirm the locations of the observation points. After he found them, he compared them to the location of the 9 steps trampling heaven. In the end, he concluded that it would not affect him. That was enough. Early the next morning, Su Jingxing bought a motorcycle, filled it with petrol, and left the city for Sunset Cliff. Arriving at the predetermined location, he hid the motorcycle and activated the secret ability, Advanced Hearing, to make sure that there was no one around. Then, he executed the 8 steps rising dragon, stepped on the steep cliff and ran at top speed. With the 8 steps rising dragon at the peak of perfection, his speed had increased by at least 5 times compared to before. Before coming to Lori Prefecture, Su Jingxing had climbed over the 1,000-meter cliff on the outskirts of the valley where the Big White Goose was without any leverage. He charged to the top at one go. This time, it was the same. Su Jingxing followed the route marked on the map and ran swiftly along the mountain face. Looking down from the sky, he was like a flying snake slithering stealthily along the mountain face. He kept going, forward and forward. He covered more than 100 kilometers, resting 3 times in between. Su Jingxing finally found the location of the 9 steps trampling heaven secret manual, a cave covered with vines. The cave was more than 700 meters above ground, and there were vines all around it. Su Jingxing spent half an hour to find it. He took out his treasure weapon and executed the 3 origin saber art. He split open the dense vines that covered the entrance of the cave and instantly shot 5 throwing daggers into it. He didn't hear any abnormal echoes, and neither did Advanced Hearing pick up any extra noises. Su Jingxing then flashed into the cave. He stood at the entrance and activated night vision, getting a clear look of the area. He discovered that the cave was very deep and it extended downwards. Since he was already at this step, Su Jingxing naturally would not be timid. He retrieved the throwing daggers and held them in his hand, ready to fire at any time. After walking through the pathway for more than 10 minutes, he came to a karst cave that was flickering with green light. The cave was huge, about 2 football fields. Su Jingxing moved to a high point and scanned the surroundings. He then realized that the source of the green light was a type of crystal. Under the illumination of these green lights, the karst cave presented a unique scene. Activating Advanced Hearing, he listened to his surroundings and heard scorpions, centipedes, ants, and other species moving around. Su Jingxing ignored them and searched for the 9 steps trampling heaven secret manual in the cave. According to the hints, the secret manual was placed in a special box. Su Jingxing activated night vision and distant vision to scan the area. 10 minutes later, he found a dark brown wooden box in a pile of sunken green crystals. He picked up the wooden box and opened it gently. A strange fragrance wafted out. Su Jingxing held his breath at once and looked into the box. Indeed, he saw an old secret manual. 5 ancient words were written on it. 9 steps trampling heaven. Found it. Su Jingxing was overjoyed. He didn't hurry to look through the contents right away. Instead, he closed the box, put it into the storage space in his palm, and returned the way he came. After returning to the cave entrance, he continued to execute the 8 steps rising dragon and dash in the direction he came from. Su Jingxing only heaved a sigh of relief when he stepped onto the ground again and found the hidden motorcycle. He got on and opened the box to let out the smell. Su Jingxing couldn't be sure if it was poisonous or not. After the smell had dissipated, he then picked up the 9 steps trampling heaven secret manual and flipped through it. Su Jingxing remained grinning. True energy internal exercise. He had guessed correctly. The 9 steps trampling heaven was indeed a high-level martial art that could cultivate true energy. Among them, the words, trampling heaven, came from one of the most terrifying mutated beast on Earth star. Heaven trampling elephant. The heaven trampling elephant was not a mutated beast that elephants turned into after getting infected by the beast spirit devil insect. According to the records, the heaven trampling elephant had a very long history on Earth star. It could be traced back to the ancient era tens of thousands of years ago. It was a mutated species of the world in its true sense. It did not evolve from ordinary elephants. The real heaven trampling elephant was born with innate divine powers and was immune to physical attacks. At adulthood, it reaches a height of 10 meters and would be immune to everything. Physics, energy, the tangible and intangible. Wind, rain, thunder, lightning, water, fire, poison, everything. This was not all. Other than being immune to everything, the heaven trampling elephant could also counter gravity and walk in the air. Walking in the void like walking on flat ground. In the end, it could even go berserk and transform into a 100-meter-tall giant demon elephant. That was the true pinnacle, the god of death who destroyed everything. Destroying cities and countries was child's play. It could break even the continental plates. Against this mutated beast, even a first-grade martial artist could only escape. Of course. The universe was fair. An unbelievably powerful ancient variant like the heaven trampling elephant was extremely difficult to reproduce. Although they have very long lifespans, almost 1,000 years, a male and female heaven trampling elephant might not even be able to conceive after 900 years together. Even if they do, they would only have one child. Therefore, since ancient times, there have been very few heaven trampling elephants, and the number of people who had seen them was even lesser. The Wei family's ancestors were fortunate enough to have encountered them. This talented ancestor of the Wei family had actually created a martial art by observing the heaven trampling elephant. That was the 9 steps trampling heaven. Every internal exercise had its own attribute. It was either blazing like fire, ice cold like frost, peerlessly sharp, or as heavy as a mountain. Or perhaps impervious to all poisons, grand and imposing, extremely domineering, righteous and peaceful, wet to the bone. The 9 steps trampling heaven had its own attributes. Weight. Simply put, the heaven trampling true energy cultivated through it was extremely heavy. This heaviness was not only limited to the weight of a mountain. The characteristic of being heavy as a mountain belonged to the earth attribute. It was stable and imposing, and its strength had its limits. In theory, there was no limit to the heaven trampling true energy. This was because the heaven trampling elephant that it was imitated after could superimpose its strength infinitely. The heaven trampling true energy did not have any other special characteristics, only that it could continuously strengthen. The amount of weight that could be added was equivalent to the amount of true energy available. With such true energy, even without the augmentation of a fist art, a single punch could easily shatter a car, destroy a house, or blow up a human body. Of course, it was not easy to cultivate the heaven trampling true energy. Firstly, without an extremely powerful physique, there was no need to even think about it. Secondly, one also had to have Herculean strength, whether born or bred. Finally, when absorbing the first strand of worldly energy, it had to be at the point where yin and yang intersected in the wee hours of the morning. If missed, one would have to wait again. All 3 conditions must be met. Su Jingxing checked the first 2 boxes, and the third was the time, so it did not affect him much. The 9 steps trampling heaven was an ultimate technique that could bring one to the 3rd grade. Not all true energy internal exercise could not necessarily help one advance to the 3rd grade. The majority of true energy internal exercises could only allow a martial artist to reach 4th grade at most. Su Jingxing carefully flipped through the 9 steps trampling heaven and discovered that it could bring him directly to 3rd grade. This saved him a lot of trouble. When he flipped to the last few pages, Su Jingxing was even more speechless. This ancestor of the Wei family was too amazing. On the last few pages of the secret manual, there were actually 2 more secret abilities. One was the demonic elephant stomp. Through visualizing the demonic heaven trampling elephant diagram, manifest a heaven trampling elephant in one sea of consciousness, suppressing everything, including martial art true intent. Martial art true intent was a powerful ability that only 3rd grade experts could grasp. It could interfere with reality using one's mind. The demonic elephant stomp is actually able to suppress it. It was unknown if it was just a bluff. This secret ability belonged to a defensive ability. However, if one had enough soul power, they could also release it externally and kill other people's souls. That's right, while secret abilities were great and very powerful, they were extremely difficult to cultivate. Only those with extremely powerful souls would be able to do so. Night vision and distant vision could be activated using internal force. But the demonic elephant stomp consumed soul power. The other secret ability was slightly better. It targeted the physical body. Demonic elephant physique. As the name implied, this secret ability could change one's physique. Once activated, one's size would instantly double, and strength would increase by tenfold. In the demonic elephant physique state, one's defense was invincible. Although it was not as exaggerated as the giant demon elephant whereby it would be immune to everything, one could still be immune to the attacks of the spirit weapons and most true energy attacks. It was just as difficult to activate. One's physique had to reach the limits of the human body. If one activates the demonic elephant physique when the strength of his physical body had not reached the limits of the human body, their body would explode on the spot. Even at the limits of the human body, one still had to eat at least 10 vitality supplement pills after transformation. Otherwise, they would be extremely weak for 3 days. Su Jingxing was not afraid of this. He had already reached the limits of the human body. As for the vitality supplement pill, it also was a body tempering pill. Unlike other pills, the vitality supplement pill is very gentle in the process of tempering one's body. It would slowly stimulate and increase one's strength. The strength pill could do the same. Therefore, Su Jingxing could transform into the demonic elephant physique right now if he wanted. He just didn't know how many strength pills was equivalent to a single vitality supplement pill. Su Jingxing had to do some tests when he got back before he could transform. Otherwise, if he was extremely weak for 3 days, even a little brat would be able to kill him. Compared to the 9 steps trampling heaven, the demonic elephant physique was an unexpected gain. He could use it immediately as a trump card. As for the demonic elephant stomp, visualizing the demonic heaven trampling elephant diagram was too difficult. Even though Su Jingxing could increase his soul power by eating the spirit accumulation pill, so far, he had only extracted a few requiem cards. He didn't know how long he would have to wait until he had the demonic elephant heaven trampling diagram in his mind to manifest the heaven trampling elephant. Therefore, Su Jingxing temporarily threw this secret ability to the back of his mind. After returning, I should try to cultivate the heaven trampling true energy first. That is the right path. While in thought, Su Jingxing flipped to the last page of the 9 steps trampling heaven. Suddenly, Su Jingxing's gaze froze. Blank. The last page of the 9 steps trampling heaven secret manual is blank too. Similar to the 8 steps rising dragon, there were no records on it. No way. Su Jingxing's heart started beating faster. Is this for real? On the last page of the 8 steps rising dragon secret manual, the location of the 9 steps trampling heaven was recorded. Now, the last page of 9 steps trampling heaven was similarly blank. Could it contain some secret? This is extremely likely. Su Jingxing could not help but think more about it. The 9 steps trampling heaven secret manual had already allowed him to obtain a true energy internal exercise that will move him directly to 3rd grade, as well as 2 powerful secret abilities. If the concealed content on the last page also contained a secret, wouldn't that be even more outstanding than the 9 steps trampling heaven and the 2 secret abilities? The ancestors of the Wei family are too good at hiding things. 7 steps fist, 8 steps rising dragon, 9 steps trampling heaven, and there's more. Su Jingxing sighed. But it does not mean that the contents concealed on the last page of the 9 steps trampling heaven secret manual is definitely martial arts. It could also be a map that noted the location of the treasure. Or an extremely important secret that outsiders have no way of knowing. Or perhaps it is a high-grade pill formula, a spirit weapon forging technique. It might even be empty. A prank left behind by the Wei family's ancestor, and there is no secret at all. All sorts of possibilities. To uncover this secret, I have to meet the big white goose. At this thought, Su Jingxing carefully examined the 9 steps trampling heaven secret manual. After confirming that there were no other discoveries, he put it into his palm space. Then, he sped towards New Fate City on the motorcycle. Back in the city, he found a repair shop and sold the motorcycle at half price. He then hacked into the aviation center at the internet cafe and bought the earliest flight ticket before heading straight to the airport. He only heaved a sigh of relief after boarding the plane. If nothing crops up, I will be back in Qinghai City tomorrow night. I'm just afraid that something might happen midway. The first flight safely arrived at its destination. All was also well on the first half of the journey after the transit. During the latter half of the journey, they encountered turbulence, but passed through safely. Another transit, the last flight. This time, Su Jingxing's luck seemed to have run out. The plane was finally targeted by an avian mutated beast. Dear passengers, we have encountered avian mutated beasts on this flight. Please be prepared. Dear passengers, we have encountered avian mutated beasts on this flight. Please be prepared. Dear passengers. In the quiet cabin, the loudspeaker repeated 3 times before stopping. During the first broadcast, Su Jingxing looked around and saw all the passengers calmly bringing up the safety packages placed under their seats. They took out goggles, mask, gloves, helmet, and a parachute bag and put them on. Throughout the entire process, no one screamed, shouted, or panicked. Su Jingxing followed the crowd to take out the package and strangely put on the various equipment. This was Earth Star. If this was Earth, the cabin would have been in a state of panic. For the people of Earth Star, they were mentally prepared for danger before they boarded the plane. If there was an accident midway, such as the plane getting attacked by the avian mutated beasts, resulting in an explosion or crash, the airline would not provide compensation. Before boarding, everyone was to sign a waiver. After boarding the plane, their life and death were in their own hands. Compared to Earth, the chances of aviation disasters occurring were many times higher on Earth Star. Almost every month, they would encounter incidents of avian mutated beasts attacking planes. Of course, when they really encounter such incidents, the plane would not just be at the mercy of the attacks. While Su Jingxing was putting on his equipment, the cargo hold at the bottom of the plane suddenly opened on both sides and 4 drones flew out. The 4 drones were fully extended in the air. They looked exactly like giant birds, their wingspan was more than 10 meters. Under human manipulation, they quickly flew forward. Halfway through, let out resonant bird chirps. 4 drones was equivalent to 4 giant birds chirping. They turned to the left side while chirping. After pulling away from the plane, the chirps became louder and louder, stimulating a huge eagle with a wingspan of 100 meters that was about to attack the plane. The eagle heard the calls and its sharp eyes turned cold. It looked away from the plane and fixed its gaze on the drones. Then, under the watchful eyes of the crowd, it turned around and chased after the drones. Lure the avian mutated beasts away. This was one of the plane's response strategies. Other than that, it was facing the enemy head-on. Earth Star's planes were equipped with heavy firepower. For this reason, the planes were exceptionally large. If a fight really were to start, they would request for help from the nearest air base. Every day, fighter jets from the air bases of each prefecture patrol in the sky. With this threefold measure, while planes still get attacked, the probability of crashing and exploding was not high. It only happened once or twice a year. Sometimes, only once every 3 to 5 years. Therefore, safety was quite assured. All passengers on the planes were essentially martial artists. They rarely panic when they encounter attacks. Of ordinary people, those who dared to board planes were all bold people. When the plane was out of danger and the situation was reported, Su Jingxing could not help but sigh again. That's really. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Huh. Su Jingxing was stunned. Someone had died. We weren't attacked earlier on. How did someone die? Yes. Su Jingxing responded inwardly with a strange expression. Just as he was about to activate his secret ability, advanced hearing to listen to the movements inside the cabin. FCK, how did this guy die? Cabin crew, someone has died here. 3 rows behind Su Jingxing, a young man stood up and called out with a gloomy look. On the seat beside him, a fat middle-aged man had his head bowed. He had stopped breathing. He's really dead. What happened? Didn't the attack never happen? He must have some illness to begin with. And he got himself killed because he was too nervous. Why are you taking a plane when you're so seriously ill? Isn't that courting death? Quote. The passengers on the left and right glanced at the dead fat middle-aged man and began to discuss. The attack did not come, but the man was dead. This fat middle-aged man was really unlucky. Su Jingxing looked behind for a moment and looked away before the cabin crew came over. Since the person was already dead, they had to deal with it. As for cremation, they could only wait until they reached their destination before sending him to the local crematorium. Su Jingxing didn't take out the card he extracted. The rest of the journey was safe and sound. No accidents happened and they arrived at Qinghe City safely. After getting off the plane, Su Jing walked into the washroom and entered a cubicle before taking out the card and reading the description. Requiem card. Requiem card. That fatty died from shock. Su Jingxing was speechless. It seemed that the person on the plane was right. The fat middle-aged man who had died was ill, severely ill at that. And he still dares to take planes. How speechless. He unlocked the card and got 2 spirit accumulation pills. Su Jingxing put them away and walked out of the bathroom. It was already past 11 p.m. when he returned to the small courtyard at the foot of the mountain. He ate some food and washed up before going to bed. The next morning, he woke up early and rushed to the Green Cloud mountain range. After entering the mountain range, he dug out the red-scaled porcupine's tusks and put them in his palm space. Then, he familiarly climbed over the 1,000-meter cliff and arrived at the valley where the big white goose lived. It was still early, so Su Jingxing did not go down into the valley immediately. Instead, he used his treasure weapon to cut out a flat area on the inner slope of the cliff to use a breakthrough point. In order to break through to the 6th grade, one had to choose a place filled with worldly energy. The worldly energy in the valley was enough for Su Jingxing to absorb. Only, as there were a lot of poisonous creatures in the valley, Su Jingxing chose to have the spot on the slope. Ga ga. A familiar call came from the valley. When Su Jingxing looked up, he saw the big white goose spreading its wings and flying towards him from the sky above the valley. Yo, you discovered me so quickly. Su Jingxing arched his eyebrows and his consciousness reached into his palm space. He brought out 10 essence energy pills and kept them in his palm. When the big white goose reached the slope and descended from the air, he tossed them gently. Brother Goose, catch. Su Jingxing threw the essence energy pills. Ga, ga. The big white goose's eyes lit up. It swooped over and swallowed all 10 essence energy pills in the air. Then, it landed on the flat ground that Su Jingxing had cut out, flapping its wings and crying out excitedly. Strangers the first time, friends the second. The last time Su Jingxing came, he had gotten along pretty well with the big white goose. In the end, when he was eating the essence energy pills to ease his fatigue, the big white goose flapped its wings and expressed that it also wanted some. While feeling surprised, Su Jingxing happily fed it a few pills. The big white goose liked it very much after eating it and asked for more. Su Jingxing naturally satisfied it. Great that it likes me, wonderful that it likes me. When they get closer, the big white goose would probably be willing to follow Su Jingxing without needing an invitation from him. Therefore, Su Jingxing was eager to see the big white goose and build their relationship. Essence energy pills, he had stored a large pile of them. In the beginning, he still had to rely on selling it to get money. Now, Su Jingxing was not short of money anymore. Compared to the essence energy pills, the big white goose as a spiritual pet was more important. The big white goose that landed on the platform seemed very happy to see Su Jingxing again. It opened and closed its bill, honking constantly. Even though Su Jingxing didn't understand, it didn't stop him from guessing and making various gestures. A man and a goose started a strange conversation. In the end, after communicating for a long time, Su Jingxing really began to understand some of the big white goose's cries. Similarly, as a spiritual beast, the big white goose also understood some of Su Jingxing's words. This made the man and the goose rather delighted. You call out while I gesture and speak, and we will continue to communicate without fully understanding each other. In the evening, Su Jingxing decided to try to make the big white goose glow. After half an hour of talking and gesturing, the big white goose finally understood what he meant. A burst of silvery white glow bloomed from its body and covered half of the slope. It can glow without having to fall asleep. Su Jingxing was pleasantly surprised. He had, with a tentative attitude, wanted to see if the silver white glow could be controlled by the white goose's consciousness. Unexpectedly, it could. Brother Goose can also shine while awake. This made things more convenient. In his excitement, Su Jingxing took out the 9 Steps Trampling Heaven secret manual and flipped to the last page. Whoosh. Indeed, as he had guessed, there was a secret hidden on the last page. Su Jingxing took a deep breath and carefully read the contents of the last page. Ga ga tilde. The big white goose leaned over and stretched its neck, also examining the glowing page. Su Jingxing couldn't care less about it. He looked at the diagrams and ancient characters on the page. Holding his breath, he memorized every word with rapt attention. The more he read on, the more serious his expression became. His pupils dilated and his breathing became heavier. At the end, his heart was beating so fast that it was about to jump out of his throat. It was not martial arts. The hidden content recorded on the last page of the 9 Steps Trampling Heaven was not martial arts, nor was it a secret ability, a pill formula or an important secret. It was a passage and a map. The map showed the way to a land of peril that was not in the U nation. It was in the north of the U nation, in a dangerous region that separated 2 large countries. The accompanying message was about the hazardous region and the perilous area within it. However, what truly visibly moved Su Jingxing was one sentence inside. Although the treasures in the land of peril can help one enter the transcendent grade, do not go there without entering first grade. Remember. Remember. What does this mean? Firstly, there is a treasure in the land of peril that the map pointed to. Secondly, this treasure can allow a martial artist to advance to the transcendent grade. Thirdly, before reaching first grade, one must not head there. Transcendent grade. There is actually a realm above first grade. Transcendent grade, transcending first grade. It was the first time Su Jingxing was learning that the 9 grades of martial arts was not the end. There was an even higher realm above first grade. Transcendent grade. And the land of peril indicated on the map actually contained treasures that could allow one to advance to the transcendent grade. The impact of this piece of information was too great. Su Jingxing had asked the ethereal sword immortal before, but she had no idea either. Now, through the hidden content on the last page of the 9 Steps Trampling Heaven, he unexpectedly discovered this shocking piece of information. If it weren't for the fact that Su Jingxing's soul power had been strengthened and his receptivity had been enhanced, he would most likely be at a loss right now. Even so, his heart was pounding involuntarily like a drum. Only after a long while did he calm down. Taking a deep breath, he placed the manual back into his palm space. The transcendent grade realm has existed since ancient times, but no one knows about it now. Is it because no one in the future generations has stepped into that realm? Su Jingxing fell silent. Ethereal Sword Immortal was unaware, perhaps because she came from an ordinary family. But those large factions that have existed for hundreds or even thousands of years should also know of the existence of the transcendent grade. Yet it hasn't been spread, they must have selectively forgotten about it. After all, it was already very difficult to advance to first grade, let alone above it. If this sort of thing had been cut off for 1,000 years, who would still remember that there is a realm above the first grade? Only by reading the relevant ancient books would one know. Of course, there is one possibility. That is that the transcendent grade real still exists in the present world, but few people know about it. As such, the public gradually forgets about it. Earth's star was huge, more than 10 times larger than Earth. Earth alone contained countless secrets that had yet to be fully explored. Not to mention Earth's star. According to what Su Jingxing knew, other than the boundless mountain range, there was still a third of Earth's star that was in a desolate state. In such a large territory, are there any transcendent grade powerhouses living in seclusion? Su Jingxing's heart raced. Deep breaths, calm the mind. Su Jingxing threw these distant thoughts to the back of his mind. I have not even reached the first grade, yet I'm thinking about the transcendent grade. It's too unrealistic. The contents of the 9 steps trampling heaven had repeatedly reminded that one had to enter the first grade before heading to the land of peril. Then I shall advance to first grade first. As for now, I have to condense the heaven trampling true energy before anything else. After making the decision, Su Jingxing let the big white goose fly away from the empty space. Swallowing all the spirit accumulation pills, he then began to attempt to break through to the 6th grade. 9 steps trampling heaven referred to gathering all the internal force and strength in one's body within 9 steps. In the newly opened Dantian, one would merge with them with the unique strand of vital energy and guide the worldly energy to eventually give birth to true energy. In this process, absorbing worldly energy was the final step. Before dawn arrived, Su Jingxing attempted the preceding steps repeatedly. When the time came and Su Jingxing sensed the yin and yang energies in the universe surge and change, he officially launched his breakthrough. He failed the first time. He failed the second time. The third, still a failure. The 4th time. The 25th attempt still failed. The period of yin-yang intersection was about to end. Su Jingxing, who was completely immersed in his cultivation, was suddenly enveloped by a milky white glow that descended from the sky. As the glow landed on his body, a flash of inspiration suddenly appeared in his mind. He guided the vital energy in his Dantian to revolve rapidly. Then, he absorbed and blended a wisp of worldly energy from this time period into it. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Hoo hoo hoo. A strong wind seemed to be sweeping past his ears. Within his withered and empty Dantian, a silvery black air current was successfully born as the vital energy, internal force, and worldly energy blended.